Hey, everybody. Welcome to Indiana Basketball Weekly today with Steve Risley. I'm your host today. Unfortunately, our co-host, Mike Goodpaster, is on special assignment for us. He's out scouting Kentucky to see if they're any good or not, truthfully, really, but we won't go there right now because we'll probably get fined for admitting that. And on board we have Big Ten champion, Collin Hartman. Collin, say hello.
How we doing?
And we have our intrepid ace beat reporter for Indiana basketball, Cole Hanna. Cole, how you doing today? How was the game?
Doing pretty good, guys. It was a good game. They got a win finally, so can't complain about much.
They got a win. So, Cole, why don't you start off and take us through, kind of give a look right now at how the stats matched up in the last game versus how our stats look for the entire season. Did we improve anywhere that you saw in the stats that made us look a little bit better?
Yeah, well, defensively, they're definitely much better today, or last night. Held Wisconsin to just 39% from the field, 27% from three, especially in overtime when they really need to get stops there. They clamp down. Wisconsin just goes 2 of 11 from the field in both overtime. So they got stops, and they need to get stops for the most part. Offensively, they're still a work in progress. First half, they were good, 46% from the field. 43% from behind the arc. Then second half, they don't make a three-point shot. They're just 36% from the field. I think that's just going to be a recurrent issue with this team is they're going to go through stretches offensively where they struggle, especially when their shooting kind of fails them, and then that kind of just makes everything harder on them offensively. But, I think this is going to how they're going to have to win games for the rest of the year. They're going to have to rely on their defense. They're going to have to be a defense-first team. They're able to get stops for the most part. They made it hard on Wisconsin. I thought DeJuan Morgan played one of his best games all year long. I know the 3 of 12 shooting doesn't look good. He fouled out, obviously, in 28 minutes. But, the 15 rebounds, 5 of which were offensive. And he led the team, too, in plus-minus at plus 20 on the game. No one else was higher than plus 6 for Indiana on the night. So, obviously, you'd like to get him on the court for more than 28 minutes, but, I thought that was easily one of his best games all year long.
Is it significant that I looked down the stat sheet, and once again, for the first time in I don't know how long, we had 4 guys in double-digit scoring, and Juwan scores 9 before he fouls out, so really you can almost say that's 10. I mean, if he'd have played another minute, he probably would have got his 11th point. Is that significant? Is that what we need, more balanced scoring? Is that what kind of carried us to this win?
Yeah, Rob Fennessy coming back, too, helped him. He's kind of – in the last couple games, he's kind of gotten back into the early season form that, he's kind of been – especially with the concussion, he hasn't really been the same since he's missed that time with that. But, him coming back and being more aggressive is helping him. Al Durham knocking down a trio of threes helps them. That's probably their best shooter right now. He's going to have to keep shooting the ball well. Justin Smith's a guy that can look great offensively some possessions, and he'll look awful offensively some possessions. So anytime they get good offensive production from him, that's a positive for him.
He dumped in 12 points. Collin, let's start with Fennessy. Did you see a spark in him last night? I kind of did. I kind of said, I think he may be coming back. He kind of played aggressive. He was attack-oriented. What did you see in Fennessy?
I saw a different kind of demeanor and different mentality. He had an attack mentality, but he had a calmness about him. He let the game come to him instead of forcing the action a lot of times. 0 turnovers, if I'm correct. He had 0 turnovers.
Yeah, correct.
So he played smart. He controlled the game. He controlled the tempo. And especially from a freshman guard, looking forward, to the rest of the season and, the future of IU basketball, it's a good sign. And it's very good to see a kid like that kind of bounce back from, being hurt, missing games, not having great games coming back, and then have a great game, step up and play a big role like he did last night.
All right, Collin, Devontae, there's a book on him right now, and there's some good chapters and bad chapters. What's your take on Devontae? He was a little bit out of control last night. I love Devontae Green. I love the way he plays basketball. I just don't know what to make of it. What do you think? You know him.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that's Devontae. Devontae, and I've been saying it all year, it's kind of like, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. He's going to do great for you, and then sometimes he's going to shoot you in the foot. And the crazy thing is you never know what you're going to get. When Devontae's on, that dude's on. He can carry you. But when he's off, you never know what you're going to get. And it's just, I think if he could, quite candidly take a page from Rob Finney's book and just being solid and letting the game come to him instead of forcing the action and being flashy and stuff like that, then, I think that would make his game that much better, and he would see the results. But it's just tough spot to be in.
Without putting you on the spot, who's more important to this team right now, Rob Finney or Devontae Green? I mean, and again, I don't want to – I'm not knocking either player because I think they're both important to the team, but who's the one you want? Is it Finney you want now based on what you saw last night? You want Rob in the game at the end of the game now. Would that be a fair statement?
Yeah, I think it's time and score, though. I think it's situational. If you're up and have a lead, I think I would go with Rob. Mm-hmm. If you're down but have momentum and guys are, we're starting to come back, I think I'd have Devontae in there because when he gets going, you can't stop him. I think especially like if you need that extra boost of a big shot or a crazy shot to go in or somebody getting a hand on a ball, a deflection, anything like that. I don't know. I think it's situational. But I don't think there's a straight answer that you're going to get from me.
Yeah, and I love them both. So I don't want to, I'm not trying to pit one against the other. I just want to say, where are we? Okay, to both of you, Race Thompson, how important is he?
That kid.
How important is Race Thompson to this basketball team right now? Both of you comment on that. Collin, you go first, and then Cole, you go after that. But talk about Race Thompson.
Well, you could go back to a few of our very first shows. This summer, I was ecstatic about this kid just because I played against him in practice last year, and the dude works hard. Steve, you probably know just as well as I do I don't know if maybe not, maybe it was a different name back then, but the walk-ons and the red shirts, they were in every single rep on scout team. And stuff like that. And when we would have slower days.
That was me.
Yeah, it was me freshman year. And so you learn a new respect.
It was me all 4 years. So you got to go to we had red and white. I got to stay on the white for 4 years. You got to go to the red at some point in time. You call it. So I stayed there all 4 years, but that's okay.
It's partially because I was injured so much.
I was never hurt. That's the problem. I never got hurt.
You should have rolled an ankle or something, broke a leg.
I know. I tried.
Tear an ACL. No, don't do that.
I tried to hurt myself, but I couldn't do it.
But yeah, that dude. You can go back. Like I said, you can go back to the shows at the beginning of the year. I was always really excited about that kid, and because he plays hard, he plays smart. The aggressive offensive scoring will come because the dude can score too. Very athletic. Physical in the post. So just moving forward, I think it's going to be great to have him, winding down this season, whatever happens, and then moving forward with next year.
I mean, he played 21 minutes, which is a lot of time. Cole, what's your take on Race Thompson?
Yeah, I mean, I think like Collin said.
Cole, Collin, did you go to the game or you watch it on TV?
No, I did not go.
Okay.
That's too late for me to go to Bloomington and drive back.
That's right. You got to be in bed, get your beauty sleep by 11 o'clock. I get it.
Easy now.
I'm old man. Well, if I was as pretty as you, I'd be in bed by 11 o'clock too. But when you're ugly like me, it's like, hell, stay up all night.
The freaks come out.
Yeah. Cole, Race Thompson.
Yeah. I think like Collin said, his offense is going to be a work in progress, and that's probably expected. I mean, he missed a lot of time with that concussion. So, as he gets more time under his belt, hopefully, that aspect of his game improves. But, defensively, I thought he was great last night. I mean, he made Ethan have to work, and a lot of that was just one-on-one. Indiana wasn't sending a lot of help to have. on the post for most of the night. And, with Juwan in foul trouble, Ray spent 21 minutes mostly guarding Ethan Happ. And, you're not going to shut down Happ. He's too good of a player, but he made him work all night long. And, I think Fitzner had a play in the first half where there was just a sequence of plays, and he was just pretty much out-physicaled by his man. And they brought in Race Thompson. I think that was like after the 1 minute and 30-second stretch Fitzner play, and they brought in Race Thompson, and there's just a much more physical element to Race Thompson's game.
Yeah.
And especially with Juwan Morgan in foul trouble, with Deron Davis battling, some kind of sickness, the flu, whatever it was, I think they really, really benefited from that physical element that Race Thompson brought to the game.
And Race pulls down 7 rebounds, which, if we get 4 guys in double figures, and Juwan, with 9, said fouling out in 28 minutes, which that he would have been good for another 6, 7, 8 points in the game had he stayed in. We know that. But for Race to come in and pull down 7 rebounds, which puts him tied for second in rebounding with Romeo behind Juwan's 15 rebounds. I mean, how critical is that, Collin, that we now have some board coverage and some inside presence defensively and can battle with bigger teams inside? Is that what we're kind of looking for him to do for us? Are we really worried about his offensive threat at this point in time?
No, I think that it does multiple things. It gives Juwan that rest of guarding the bigger physical guy all the time, which, gets fatiguing to a certain extent. It's tiring to try to guard those guys and then try to go score on the other end all the time. So I think we could see more offensive production out of JMO. Obviously keep him on the floor longer, get Race able to guard those big guys,
right,
and just not have to help so much and not give up threes. It's just a domino effect. If he can guard the post one-on-one and work to not let them get the ball and not get the post depth, and then if they do get it, guard them one-on-one so we don't have to dig in and help and give up the kick-out threes or driving the lanes or anything like that, it's going to be just a domino effect, hopefully, of our defense and our team.
All right, let me just move up to the food chart here. Collin, what's up with Zach McRoberts? Is he hurt, or have you got 4 minutes? Is he in the doghouse, or is he hurt? Or because I think this is the most hard. He's the Collin Hartman of this team, the kid that just plays hard when he's on the court and just makes crap happen just by being on the floor. And what is the deal? What's your interpretation? Is he hurt?
I don't know.
Or is it just not fitting into plans?
He just might not be fitting into what we're trying to do, or confidence might not be there, or I don't know. It could be. Practice does translate to games. Coaches' confidence in players translates from practice. If you have a terrible week of practice, you're not locked in, or you're not playing well, you're not moving fast enough, stuff like that. It's going to translate to your playing time.
I just see, and Cole comment, but I see McRoberts as a kid that I know when I played, and Collin, you probably had those guys go, I don't want, people, Tolbert and Turner used to hate it when I guarded them in practice because they knew they were just going to get slapped around. And I look at McRoberts as a kid that if I'm on the red team or whatever you guys call it, we had the red and the white team. The red team was our starting team. The white team was the second string. And it's like, I didn't want, if I was on the red team, I didn't want a Zach McRoberts guarding me because I knew he just was going to screw with me the whole time.
Right.
He wasn't the best player, but I knew he's just going to be up in my grill the whole time. And that's what I admire about that kid. I don't think he's exceptionally talented. He's probably more like me than me, in a sense that he just gets, and like you, Collin, he plays hard when he's on the floor. So I was just curious what your thought process was here. Cole, you got any observations? You were at the game. Is he hurt, or is he just not fitting in the process?
I don't think he's hurt. Archie could be a little hesitant to play him just with the offensive struggles they've had. Mm-hmm. And, Zach McRoberts is obviously not going to give you really much of anything offensively. Wisconsin, for the most part, IU did a good job defending Wisconsin on the perimeter. Khalil Iverson had a good game. That was pretty much, Brad Davidson was just 1 of 11, Trice just 2 of 10. IU was guarding their perimeter guys well for the most part. So, it could have just been Archie wanting to get more offense out there because he liked what they were doing defensively. Maybe if it's a game they were struggling more defensively, he would have looked at McRoberts more. It could have just been a situational thing, but I didn't see an injury with him.
Yeah. And I'm saying right now, Hartman, if you don't send your resume to the Big Ten Network, I'm watching Robbie Hummel right now. He can't hold your jock. Okay, you need to send your resume to the Big Ten Network and get Hummel off the damn TV. I'm watching right now because Penn State just beat Maryland 78-61, and that helps us. That's good for us. But I'm listening to Hummel. I'm looking, and I'm like, God, Hartman is so much better looking and probably more poised than Hummel. You got to get your resume. We got to get you a tape made and get it on there and get it to the Big Ten Network. And you got to be on there next year, so you can pump up the Grueling Truth.
Oh my God!
I know. Stop watching Hummel. He's like, oh my God, what is this idiot doing? Jesus. All right, let me get back to reality. All right, Collin. Question for you. Is Deron Davis progressing at a pace you're happy with or comfortable with? Seems to me he's getting stronger. He's getting more physical. He's able to play more minutes. I think he played 22 minutes, basically. Both of you guys, is Deron getting to where we need him to be?
Well, it depends on what time frame you're looking at.
Well, we got 3 games left to make crap happen. So,
right.
Is he a factor, or is he just big and we're just putting him in there?
Hell yeah, he's a factor. That dude could be big for us. Plain and simple. It is what it is.
I think he'd be huge for us.
Yeah, so I like it.
Are you pleased with his progress?
Pleased with the progress? Recently, yes. Do I wish he would have done it earlier? Yes. But for right now, I'm pleased. Just because I want him to do well, and I know the way this team's going to be at his best is if he keeps progressing. So I'm going to be grateful for what we got.
Yeah, I agree entirely. Cole, any observations on Davis? Again, you were there.
Yeah, and he was supposed to start last night too, but like I mentioned it earlier, something happened. He was battling some kind of sickness that they ended up having to scratch him, and he didn't even come out of the locker room until 5 or 6 minutes into the game. I don't know what that was. That could have been impacting him last night. But 22 minutes, his conditioning's getting there. That's probably going to be something he's going to have to just keep working. He's just going to have to play through it. But offensively, he's a load in the post. He gives us a legitimate post player in addition to Juwan. So, yeah, I like the progress. He's giving them good minutes right now. And, right now, IU doesn't have a whole lot of bench scoring. And, 6 points off the bench for Deron last night. He's given them a physical presence and a legitimate post threat.
Okay. And Collin, did you see out of Langford last night what we'd hoped we would have seen all season? It seemed to me at the end of the game he was calling for the ball. Am I right or wrong? Talk about that.
Yeah. I like Romeo. I
love Romeo.
Do.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of.
Yeah. Can we flunk him out of some class or something like that, and so he's got to retake a class, or do you call one of your professor buddies and make him,
bail him out?
Get him that.
I truly do hope he stays. Selfishly.
Yeah, we all do. Of course. Should he? Okay. So first off, let's talk about his performance last night. I felt the whole game he still stands around when he doesn't have the ball in his hands, and I think that could be improved with coaching. I think if the coaches trained him and taught him how to move better without the ball, that's an applied skill that can be trained and learned. But when they put the ball in his hands and he gets determined, it seemed to me there was no stopping him, right or wrong.
Oh, yeah. That dude can score whenever he wants if he just takes the initiative to do it early on in the possession.
So how do you make that happen?
coaching a mentality, getting used to the game, figuring out, watching countless hours of film and watching yourself and being able to take constructive criticism and then go in and apply it. A lot of people
say another year at IU.
Sorry, but I mean, another year at IU could do that for him, quite candidly. So the dude's good. He can score whenever the heck he wants. And
then Juwan, I'm glad to see the other guys race and Devontae stepping up. It's going to take some load off of Juwan because Juwan's carried that load in the paint for us the entire season. Cole, can we get him some rest, or can we start counting on the other guys now to step up and take some of that load off of Juwan and maybe let him be more of an offensive threat? Because I think he's playing the hardest defense because he's so alone in that paint defensively. If we can get these other guys stepping up, would it be fair to say we can rest him a little bit more on defensively, put him out on the wing a little bit more, and not make him forced to battle underneath, and be a little bit more of an offensive threat and keep himself out of foul trouble?
Yeah, well, I mean, to that, I think Collin said it earlier. When you get a guy like Race or a guy like Duran playing better, and like Wisconsin with Hap, you can put a Race Thompson or Duran Davis on Hap for long stretches of that game. Juwan's had trouble with fouls for a lot of this season. If you can get a guy like Race where you want him to be defensively, then you can kind of hide Juwan defensively. You can try to keep him on the court, avoid foul trouble with him. So yeah, I mean that's a big Race Thompson, really, you want the offense to come along, but that's not what you need from him. You want him to play good defense so you can kind of hide Juwan defensively, keep Juwan out of foul trouble, and Race Thompson I think showed he could do that last night. Ethan Happ is one of the best post players in the Big Ten, and I thought Race Thompson made everything Happ do. He made him work for it.
All right, so I want to point this out before we move on to start looking at the future. Now we've talked about the past here. For the first time, I think, in our season this year, actually somebody shot worse at free throws than we did.
Yeah.
Wisconsin was 52% and we were 63%. So we actually outshot somebody from the free throw line, believe it or not. And so for that, we should all give a polite round of applause to ourselves and to the IU Hoosiers because they didn't get killed by free throws this year. How do we do on rebounds? What did we do rebounding-wise? How did we do against them?
We out-rebounded them 46-40.
There you go. See, and that's Race Thompson right there for you, isn't it? Coming in there, off the bench, 7 strong rebounds. So Collin, okay, pie in the sky. We got 3 games left. We're now back to 500. Can we dance? I mean, is there a chance for us to dance, Collin?
I've never been big on it or really actually knowledgeable on the whole, like, how you get into a tournament. I think that if we finish,
because Cole will tell us in a minute, but is this a team that are we good enough to dance right now? I mean, the way we're playing today, are we good enough to dance?
In my opinion, I'm gonna say yeah. Why not? I want to.
I'm gonna say yeah.
I want to. I mean, the team has been playing a lot harder. They've been playing a lot smarter. They beat some good teams. The key to basketball and to basically any sport is playing your best basketball when it matters at the end of the season. I just hope that we haven't played such bad basketball that it doesn't matter how well we're playing at the end of the season.
Yeah, and we'll let Cole address that in a second. We'll let Cole address it. But I mean, is this a Collin? And again, I defer to you because this is your team. I mean, these are your guys. Is Archie and the players starting to figure each other out now, or is this just Archie just browbeating him into submission? And they're just getting tired of getting yelled at and responding? Or do you think that there's a marriage that's happening here now? We're starting to see the transformation of this basketball program into Archie's culture. What's your thoughts on that?
I think Coach Miller's culture is kicking in. Because I feel like I feel like we play and I feel like we play pretty good defense. We're starting to play better defense as the season's going on, like in the last few games, because we're not outscoring teams, that's for sure. I think it's a culmination of guys being like, well, we want our seniors to go out on better than this, and I think that Coach Miller's culture is kicking in.
And I would agree with you, because this is why I say that, because we've seen it for the last 3 games now, which tells me it's consistent. It's becoming consistent. It wasn't like a browbeat into one bad practice or one awful practice and whip into submission. For the last 3 games now, even the Purdue game, Purdue and the Iowa game, we've seen in Minnesota really, we played hard. We just kind of got some bad breaks in all those games, which, prevented us from, except for Minnesota where we just got dumped. But other than that, so I think it's a cultural transformation that's starting to occur, and this is what we were all really hoping for. Like you said, it's probably it might be a little too late. But I love the fact that these guys are doing now. The last 3 games I've seen them play, they played a much more up-tempo game and much. I know Mike and I were tweeting back and forth, and we were kind of flipping back and forth between North Carolina playing West Virginia, I think, or somebody, or Syracuse, or I don't know who there. And then we were looking at the IU game. We were flipping, and the pace of play in the ACC is much different than the pace of play in the Big Ten.
Right.
Pace of play in the ACC is Greyhound. Pace of play in the Big Ten is aircraft carrier. Big and strong. You aren't going to move it quick, but it's going to break the waves. You go to the ACC, it's a lot of run and gun. But go ahead.
The team that, and this is, I'm just going off what you said because I think it's a good point. I think that the team in the Big Ten that does both at the same time, and this is why they're so successful, is Michigan State.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's why, because they play the physical, pounding inside Big Ten, quote unquote Big Ten game, but they also can get out and run. They push that ball in transition like crazy. And that's what allows them to be so successful. And I think even with this team that we have now, I think IU can do that. There's no reason that, with the guys that we have. It's a run-and-gun team.
I think Archie's holding them back. I think at this point they need to run more. I mean, I think that this is IU right now is more like an ACC team than a Big Ten team, in my opinion. That's just how I see it. And, I'm one voice, one opinion. But I see IU being the more up-tempo they play under control, I think the better off they are, is my thought. So before we get into the start, Cole, statistically, what are our chances of making the dance based on what you know about quadrants, KenPom, everything? Where are we at? What's good about us? What's hurting us? Let's get into that. Then we'll get into the last 3 games, and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, so, obviously the thing hurting them is they're just 500 overall. Just 5 of 12 in the Big Ten. They're going to have to improve those. But, what they have going for them is, and Steve, you and I were talking about it a little bit before the show. So they only have 5 Quadrant 1 wins now. I saw Butler lost, so that dropped them outside the top 50 net ranking. They lost last night, so now they're down to, but they have 5 Quadrant 1 wins, which is a significant amount. They have 0 Quadrant 3 and Quadrant 4 losses, which is obviously they don't have what the tournament committee would qualify as a quote unquote bad loss. So I mean, and net ranking wise, they're currently sitting at 55. So they're inside the tournament field technically, from a net rating standpoint. But they're going to have to get over 500. They're probably going to have to get to at least 19 wins. 18 wins, you're probably coming up just short. But if they can get to 19 wins, especially if they add Michigan State on Saturday to the win column, that would give them 5 wins over top 25 teams on the year. So from a quality win standpoint, Indiana is one of the, they have an impressive resume from that point of view. They have a lot of quality wins, up there probably with some of the best teams in the country in that department. But they have to win games. They're not going to get in the tournament at 500. It's not going to happen. They have to probably win out. Win their last 3 games of the season and probably win at least 1 or 2 games in the Big Ten tournament. And ideally, they'd probably love to get a rematch with like a Minnesota, a team that beat them head-to-head earlier in the year, and another Big Ten team that's kind of on the bubble there with the tournament.
Well, where is the Big Ten tournament this year? Is it
it's in Chicago, I believe, right?
Chicago, yeah.
Thank God.
So basically, Cole, what we're dealing with is here, and you and I talked about this pre-game or pre-show. There are probably 32 to 34 teams gunning for roughly 22 spots, correct? Because by the time you anoint all the conference champions and all that kind of stuff, the automatic seeds, you got about 22 spots left for at-large bids. Is that about correct?
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah.
It's going to depend really on just how, the tournaments shake out, who wins those.
So what we don't need is any small conferences to pull upsets. We need all the leaders in the small conferences. That's a big plus for us. Correct, Collin? We need everybody that's supposed to win their conference win their conference championship. We don't need anybody like, Furman being 1-8 and getting hot in whatever conference they play in and beating Wolford or something and winning championship. Then you got to put Wolford in and you got to put Furman in too because they get the automatic bid. So we need to avoid that. So we really don't control our own destiny. Pretty fair statement, right? I mean, in terms of we can do all we can do, but we have a strong resume. It's just that can we get in that side of that top 22 ranking of the at-large teams? Fair statement, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have our own destiny in our hands. I think that's
Collin, can we beat Michigan State again? Can we do it again? I mean, we handle them.
Dude, it's at home. Why not?
I think we can. I mean, I don't know why we can't. They're hurt.
I mean,
they're injured.
They beat them on the road. So
beat them on the road. I mean, so
just had a good win. I mean, shit.
So
they're playing better of late. I mean,
so
you got to
of the
get
3
better.
games we got left, Michigan State at home, at Illinois, and then Rutgers. What's the toughest game of these 3? I mean, we got to win all 3. We have to win all 3, or we're dead. We're looking. If we win 2 of the 3, I think we're NIT bound. If we can win all 3 and at least win 1 game in the Big Ten tournament, which if we win all 3, we'll get a higher seed. We'll be in better position. What's the toughest of these 3 games, Collin?
I think Michigan State is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I know we're at home, but it's hard to beat a team twice in a row.
Yeah.
Beat a team twice in 1 year, much less a team with that much talent and that well coached. I don't know. It's always been hard to beat a team twice. It just is. That's how it is.
No, I agree. I played 4 years like you did in the Big Ten. I know it's very difficult. I mean, especially when you whipped them in their own court. I mean, they're coming back for some blood. I mean, and this is a team that generally, with a coach that learns how to spike his team right about this time of the year and get them ready to play tournament ball. And, Michigan State's in the tournament. I mean, they're going to dance. So he's gearing right now. He's not worried about us as much as he is. He is worried about Indiana, definitely. I don't want to say that's wrong. But he's also very focused on continuing to get his team to climb and to improve on a day-by-day and game-by-game basis. At Illinois, I mean, that is, Collin, it's fair to say that's a crapshoot.
That's a tough place to play.
It is, I know.
And that team
always been scrappy.
That team's always been scrappy too.
And they're playing good ball now.
Yep. So that's not an easy one either.
Yeah.
I'd rather play if I were playing again. I'd much rather play Illinois at Illinois rather than Michigan State. That's weird.
Right. Cole, I know you're going to do the write-up. What's the take on Michigan State? What does Indiana need to do to beat Michigan State?
Yeah, well, it's going to be tough. Cassius Winston.
No shit, Sherlock. We know that.
Yeah. Well, Cassius Winston.
Get together, Cole.
Come on, Cole.
Probably one of the best players in the Big Ten. I think, we talked about him. I think the key is going to be Rob Fennessy. It's a guy we talked about. His offense is coming along, but especially in this game defensively, he's really going to have to step up. Cassius Winston is kind of the straw that serves the drink there for Michigan State. He needs to make him work for pretty much everything he does. On the inside, Nick Ward, too, is an absolute beast for Michigan State. Probably going to see a lot more Race Thompson, Deron Davis in that game. What you don't want to do is get Juwan in foul trouble trying to guard Nick Ward. They're going to need Juwan on the court for long stretches of that game. So, I think it's just a lot of the guys we talked about, like Race Thompson, he's going to have to step up, defend Nick Ward. Deron Davis is obviously going to be tasked with doing a little bit of that himself. Rob Fennessy is going to have to play really good defense on Cassius Winston. And, I've harped on it a lot this year. Hopefully they can get some outside shooting too, because, when they're hitting outside shots, it just opens up things for them offensively. And then, when they can't hit shots, teams kind of clamp down on the paint inside and just makes it tougher for IU. So hopefully they can get some outside shooting going.
Collin, one last question. Is the crap that Archie Miller's taken, is it fair or not? Be honest. I have an opinion. I think it's not fair, but you go ahead and state your opinion. Is it fair that the crap he's taking right now?
I can understand the frustration. No doubt about that. IU fans have always held IU to a high standard. I kind of understand. I understand the frustration. What I don't understand is the extent to which people always jump off the deep end and always like, he needs to be fired, blah, 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 blah. Like, get off your high horse. If you didn't win a national championship or do the best at your job in 2 years and they fired you, do you feel like that would be, say you're in sales, you don't make a President's Club in the first 2 years and they fire you? I'm kind of
I made the President's Club every year, Collin.
Okay, well, we're not all the magical Steve. People can relate to that. If you're not the top salesman or you're not the top performer in your company in 2 years, you're still learning processes and stuff like that. And people are absurd because they hold it to a higher standard. I understand the frustration, I do, but the extent to which people call for somebody's job and their livelihood and don't remember that he's a human being, and we all are, it's absurd. It's comical.
Yeah, and I agree 100%. Let me ask you another question, just playing right off that. And I've been an advocate of this, and I agree with you. Archie Miller is our coach. I want him to be our coach. I'm happy with him being our coach. I want to see him win. I want him to guide this team back to, what we know and love about IU basketball. Should he think about retooling his assistant staff to maybe bring some stronger game coaches in and not so much focus on recruiting, or is that just me blowing smoke? Are you happy with his assistant coaches, or should he retool that just a little bit at the end of the year? And again, if you don't want to comment, don't comment, because I don't want to put you in a hard position, because you still sit behind the bench. I'm in by the tubas, so it doesn't matter what I say. I'm already toast.
Well,
should he retool his assistant staff a little bit?
I don't know. I think, and this is one of the things that is great about basketball is I think he's got an unbelievable assistant staff. I truly, truly do.
Okay.
I
You
think
played with them.
Yeah, and I think I think they have great guys that are in it for the right reasons. They're in it to get these players better. Coaches can learn just as much as players can. You can teach coaches a certain way that you want to do things. They can watch film. They can learn from themselves. They can have meetings that grow each other as a staff. They have all summer to do that. I think they have the right guys in there. I fully believe that. And if there needs to be some tweaks made, why not do that? Just as well as you can do it with players, you can do it with coaches. That, in my opinion, I think they have the right guys.
That's a fair assessment. Like I said, I've never met any of the assistant coaches on this team. I've met the guy from
Schilling.
Mark Tudor. Yeah, Schilling. I met Schilling a couple times, and he's a great guy. He's a master recruiter. To me, he's a master recruiter, and I don't know what he brings. But if you're happy, then we should all be happy. But I wanted to throw that out there because I want to squelch the rumors, and partially driven by me, who said, you got to retool your assistant staff, and I appreciate your opinion entirely. And so leave it as goes. We're seeing progress now. It takes time to build a village. I mean, it just takes time to build it, and we got to be grateful for that. And I think, depending on what he can do recruiting-wise this year, I think you're going to continue to see a more improved product every year. We're going to lose Juwan. Romeo, I find some way to keep him in Indiana. Can we get him arrested for something and get some kind of warrant? I don't know. Can we do something that he's got to stay at IU another year? Because I would love to keep that kid around for one more year because I think it would benefit him and it would benefit the university. Yeah. So why don't we do this? Let's get together after the Michigan State game, and we'll do a show. I think it's at noon. Can we do a show everybody available after the game to do a post-game show?
What day is that?
Saturday.
Saturday at noon? Yeah, I should be able to do that.
It'd be about 2:30. Cole, you available? Are you going to be at Nick's drinking already or what? Oh, you'll be at the game.
No, actually, I'm leaving this weekend to go to Chicago.
You're not going to the game?
No, unfortunately
Cole, we pay you mega amount of money to cover these games for us, and you're not going to be at the game?
No, I'll have to give the money back to you, I think.
Hopefully. We're going to have to let you go.
Send me a check. Send me a check.
Oh, we're going to have to let you go,
dude. Send it to Collin. Collin needs it worse than I do, so send it to Collin.
Okay.
Hey,
he's young. He's trying to buy ottomans at IKEA. So
you're dang right. Which is built for Smurfs.
Yeah. All right. Will you be able to watch the game and beyond then, or are you just gonna be in the car driving?
I should be able
with your
to
mom and dad. And your mom yakking on the phone all day long.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I should be. I'll definitely be able to watch, and I should be able to be on. It's just visiting Grant for his birthday, so we'll see.
All right. Now I want to do this. This is important to me. Collin, you have a new venture.
Yeah, I do.
Tell us about it, and let's start promoting it. Let's get it out there. And Collin's going social. So what are you doing, Collin? Where can we subscribe? I'm already subscribed. I'm following you. I'm following Allie now. I followed her on Twitter and Facebook and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm all in. I'm game in on you. And there's going to be comments coming back, so don't be too stupid. Tell us what you're doing and where we can find you.
So we started a YouTube channel, and Allie and I did. We talk about a whole lot of nothing, and we also talk about our lives and daily struggles and stuff that people go through. And, the whole concept behind it and the whole reason that we do it is because we both have been through a lot in our lives, even though we're really young. And we know we're going to go through more. And I've always found that it's easier for people to open up and understand how life is and that they're not the only person going through it when somebody will be vulnerable first. And Allie and I have made the decision to kind of be the vulnerable people first, put it out there, be a platform for people to understand and relate to. We're not perfect. We want to grow, and we have questions for people to answer and advice for people to give us and stuff like that. Just be completely open and share our lives and grow together and allow people to grow in this journey with us. And one of the biggest things that we did too is we just want to be able to look back and have a video kind of journal of ourselves and what we've gone through and where we started and where we've come from, and just be able to look back and be like, wow, we came a long way. So you can follow us on YouTube. That's
give the address. How do they find you? Tell everybody how they find you.
Just type in YouTube, Collin and Allie. You'll see my ugly mug on there. Allie's definitely the better looking of the two. That's for sure. Allie's much better looking than me.
Well, we know that, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She it's all relative. If you see me next to her, you're like, wow, he's kind of ugly.
I'm in the same boat you're in.
Yeah, I'll kick my cover.
I'm more Gilligan than you're Gilligan. Trust me.
Yeah, you probably are. I'm good at that.
I am. I've been married 35 years, so I'm going nowhere. I'm fine.
She can't leave you at that point. Tia
I can't leave her. I can't afford to leave her. Christ, she gets half of everything. At least she's nothing.
Oh man, but yeah, it's just for fun. Well, video travels. We're gonna do some funny videos coming up here soon, and just have a good time. That's all it's for.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Check it out.
Good.
Subscribe.
I subscribe. I'm in. You'll get crappy comments from me every week, and you'll blow them off, and your mom will hate me even more. So that's okay. we'll live with it.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
Made it this far.
All right. So let's wrap it up. We'll be on post-game, Michigan State. We'll get Mike back online. You know, like he's on special assignment for us. He's down at Kentucky right now. You know the old war between the Hoosiers and the Kentuckians, don't you? The Kentuckians were throwing hand grenades across the Ohio River at us. Hoosiers were pulling the rings and throwing them back.
I've heard that. I haven't heard that in a while, though. That's a good one. I like it.
Yeah, so he's down there pulling the rings and throwing them back at Kentucky right now because he does not like Kentucky at all. So we'll get Mike back online Saturday. He'll be back up. Cole, have safe travels and see if you can get online. Let us know if you can or not. And Cole, you'll have your Michigan State report pregame up when?
Probably, let's say, Wednesday, probably Thursday.
All right, and then Friday we have you on. Cole's also now the NBA beat writer for thegrowingtruth.net. So we're going to have Cole on Friday at 9 o'clock Pacific time, my time, which I actually did a show this morning at 4 o'clock in the morning for you all to know. I got up at 4 to do a 7 o'clock show in Indianapolis. I know. I went back to bed, slept till 11.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But we'll have Cole on Friday, and he's going to take us through the final 20 games of the NBA season, see where we stand with that. And then Colin's got his new website going, his lifestyle website, where he'll show you where the newest trend are in skinny jeans, cropped haircuts, fancy foods, Dine Indiana. We have Dine LA out here. I follow this website, Dine LA. It gives you all the trendy restaurants. I'm sure Collin and Allie about telling you all the trendy restaurants in Greenwood, Indiana. So
yeah, right.
There you go. All right, good show, guys. Let me wrap it up here. Thank you for listening. And anybody have further comments from anybody? Anybody got anything else to say?
I'm good.
Yeah,
I got to go IU. I'm going to go IU, beat Michigan State.
Yeah, that's a given, Steve.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys, and we will catch you Saturday after the post game on Michigan State. Talk to you later.